Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I am the CHALL. It's been a couple of days, but we are back with another video. Grant McCann said after that defeat to Bradford, which knocked us out of the trophy and kept our sole focus on staying in the League Two, even if it is bad news in terms of the injuries suffered last night, we may still be done in terms of the January transfer window. Deadline day is tomorrow, and I am worried. I am incredibly worried. Sutton, looking at the highlights of that game against Harrogate that they had last night as well, it looked like they had numerous chances, but just couldn't put it in the back of the net apart from the one goal at the end. But they still scored a goal, which could put us in a difficult scenario where if our midfield, which now has no Ben Close, isn't on point and Sutton have their shooting boots, it could be a 2-3-0 win, depending on our clinicalness against Sutton as well. Before we get started, make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss another YouTube video. And let's get straight into this. Let's just talk about it. So obviously, three massive injuries. Connor Carty looks quite bad, went into the advertising hoardings, came off. Molyneux came off as well, cut on his ankle. But Ben Close was the big one. It looked like an ACL. It looked like a potential broken ankle. It looked something very serious. I don't think we've got the prognosis yet, but as far as I'm concerned, from the look of it, that looks like Ben Close out for the rest of the season at the very least. Could be for at least the first couple of months of next season as well, depending how serious this is, from the looks of the game. Ben Close, arguably one of our best midfielders in this squad, along with Zane Westbrook. Luke Molyneux out wide, probably one of the better wingers we've got in this squad at the moment. John Tell's coming back from fitness. Kyle Hurst is only just getting games. Billy Waters was cup-tied. Adelakin was cup-tied. I'd say Adelakin and Waters are probably our best wingers. They've barely even played one game. Well, they've barely played just one game yet. They played the one game and that's it at the minute. And in my opinion, they're still arguably the best wingers we've got in this club at the minute. Molyneux's amongst that group. He's now out. Connor Carty came with a little bit of potential. He's out. Again, we don't know how long this is going to be, but I'll tell you something now. If Connor Carty's one is serious till the end of the season, send him back to Bolton and use that loan slot again. If Ben Close's injury is serious, we need to be looking at another central midfielder. If Luke Molyneux's injury is serious, you've got the wingers already in that position, so you can kind of excuse the Molyneux injury if it's serious because you've got players that can fill that role. But Carty, again, we could use that lone slot in the midfield role. Close being out as well, it could put 2 and 2 together. When you throw into that Jack Goodman's loan to Linfield got called off as well, that deal collapsed. Nothing seems to be going right for us right now. I don't know what it is. Nothing seems to be going right at the moment. When you take into account the 5-1 on Saturday, when you take into account the fact that, yes, there were some players out there that took positives from last night. Maxwell, Sterry had a couple of spells. I thought Richard Wood did well. I thought Teller was sharp off the bench. So there was a few players that came out of that with some plaudits, but the way that we conceded that free kick, which is a good free kick, by the way, from Harry Chapman. I thought Harry Chapman and Jake Young had fantastic games for Bradford. I thought Jake Young did well. I thought Harry Chapman did well. I thought a few other of the Bradford players did well. And if I want to praise players from the opposition team, I'll bloody praise them, all right, before anyone else starts on social media. I'll praise our players like I did, but I'll also praise opposition players that did well, because at the end of the day, I am respectful. Just a little message out there for anyone who thinks it's okay to criticize me for playing with, for having the respect to praise opposition players. Just saying. That free kick was great from Harry Chapman, but the goalkeeper was glued to the spot. The wall, the gap in between Maxwell and the other player was just inexcusable. Bradford saw that gap and they utilised that gap in a second. And again, when you look at the injury situation with Close, which looks very serious, we look at Molyneux, we look at Carty. If all three of them are out for at least a few months, couple of months, we're looking here at, we should be, if Carty's out for the rest of the season, send him back to Bolton and get another loan in. Fill that loan slot with someone who's fit and ready to go, preferably a midfielder. Or if you can bring in a permanent, bring in a permanent. But then that quote comes out in the press conference after the game last night that Grant McCann, and I'm just paraphrasing here, even if it's bad news, we may still be done. And I kind of take it in a couple of ways. We've got 35 players on the book. 35. We've got 3 fresh injuries. We've got a few people out to the end of the season anyway. Westbrook's back in February, March. So let's take the 3 out from last night. That's 32. Take a few more out for the rest of the season and Westbrook back, etc. Let's say that takes us down to about a squad of 25. Preferably, I still think we need one more. And look, you can't keep throwing money at situations and things like that. You can't keep throwing money at it. I know that. But if Close is out for the rest of this season and beyond, we need another central midfielder 110%. If this injury is as serious as I think it is, we need another central midfielder, preferably an experienced central midfielder. But that right there, that quote there in the comments in the conference, in the press conference from McCann, even if it's bad news, we may still be done. That does not fill me, in my opinion, with a lot of confidence. For me, I think that's potentially kamikaze thinking, in my opinion. And I know what fans on the outside are going to say. I know for a fact what fans on the outside are going to say. If they're going to say, if we do not bring in another player before the end of this window that's going to help keep our situation alive in the midfield and keep ourselves in the Football League, we could be in a position where we could be absolutely screwed. And that's not even the long and short of it. That right there, that Ben Close injury in that midfield, who in my opinion is arguably our best midfielder. Owen Bailey's our best defender, but he's a midfielder. Zane Westbrook offers advanced movements, but he's out till February, March at the very least. If Ben Close is out injured now as well, what now? What now? And you know what? I put 3 options there on Twitter to someone. Hiram Boateng, Matty Virtue, Stevie Mallon. Mallon, Boateng, Virtue. 3 players there, experienced midfielders, out of contract in the summer on fairly decent wages that could do a job. Matty Virtue, I'd take that guy all day long. Stevie Mallon, experience, could offer something to the midfield. Hiram Boateng, nice guy, offers something to the midfield with his experience. And if you play him the right way, he does that. I think all 3 would fit McCann's system greatly as well. But I don't know. I think the toxicity in the fan base has really risen up again in this last week or so. I think the Stockport result didn't help. The Bradford result, although it would have, and this is the thing right with the Bradford result. I would have loved to have gone through in that trophy, but right now, if I'd have taken a trophy over league status, I know I said a couple of weeks ago I want a trophy, but to be honest with you, with how far we've fallen now, we need our league status. If I had a choice, I'd pick the league. So it's going to go out, especially this close to Wembley. And with Bolton going out to Blackpool on penalties as well, I think it could have made it a little bit better. But yeah, this is Bradford's first semi-final in their history in this competition now. And, they're going to go on and we'll see how they do against Blackpool. And of course, I think Peterborough's gone through. I think their opposition gets decided tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, our focus is the league. Our focus is on league status. And that could potentially be the last time we're in that trophy, depending on what happens this season. Because if we go down, the best trophy we've got to hope for next season if we go down is the FA trophy and the FA Vars. That's the best hope we've got for a trophy next season. Because we there's a genuine, don't anyone think that we're not going down this year. There's a genuine fear that we are. These next 12 games will decide what happens with our season. And I'm not trying to be negative or anything like that. I'm just trying to be realistic. I'm trying to be firm but fair. There is a chance we could go down this year. 100,000,000% there's a chance we could go down this year. Do I want that to happen? No. Do I wish that to happen? No. But there's a chance we go down this year. And I'm not going to shy away from that at all. Not shying away from it, not getting away from it at all. And the fact that we may still not be investing in this window on one more player, even if it's bad news on the injury front with those 3 players, even if we don't bring anyone else in, despite the injuries, that for me is that you could take that as one of 2 or 3 ways. You could take it as either a signal in defeat. You could take that as we don't have any budget left, and then you start questioning how much has been invested into the playing budget and how much money we actually have to invest in the playing budget. And if we don't have enough to invest in the playing budget, Terra needs to now come out and say, I need to look for investment partners and people to help invest in the club. And thirdly, and this is another way of taking it, so you've got the money for the playing budget, and if we haven't, look for an investment partner. You've got a signal in defeat potentially, which I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think Grant McCann ever will signal for defeat. He's a man who never gives up. So is Cliff Byrne. They never give up. They never give in. The past couple of press conferences, though, Grant McCann has looked like a broken man. So I don't know what's going to happen. Thirdly, it could be a sign that something's going on. Don't know what, don't know how, but something's going on. Because with the potential injuries to Close, Molyneux, Carty as well, with Westbrook only just getting back around March, after the main month which decides our season, with a few players out for the rest of the season, with some of the players that are on the pitch not getting the results at the moment, it's going to get to a point where the board have to make a really ruthless decision here. Do they stick with McCann and potentially threaten relegation out of the Football League? Do they potentially get rid of McCann, bring in another manager to help see us through and we go down anyway? Or do they make a really ruthless decision and sack Grant McCann, bring in another manager, and it keeps us up? Those are 3 potential scenarios the club are going to go under this year. We either go down with McCann, go down without McCann, stay up with McCann, or stay up without McCann. There's 4 potential scenarios there. And I if I'm being honest with you, I don't want McCann out, but I generally don't know which one the club's going to choose. I generally don't know what they're going to choose, and I generally do not know what is actually going to happen. Because if we lose to Sutton, we're going to be 4 points off the relegation zone. 4 points. And then we've got Tranmere, Salford, and Grimsby. Out of a possible 9, if we don't pick up at least 6 to 9 out of those 9 points available, we could be in the relegation zone, depending on Sutton's results, depending on Forest Green's results. So it's a very bitter pill to swallow. I want to stay positive. Don't get me wrong. I want to stay positive as a Rovers fan personally, because I know that some of these players that we brought in this summer are good enough to be at this level. People like Owen Bailey, people like Jack Senior, players like that are good enough to play at this level. Owen Bailey's been the signing of the season this season, without a shadow of a doubt. Jack Senior has come on leaps and bounds from earlier on in the season, but we're just not getting the results. The performance levels are better than last season, and it's a better squad than last season, but we're in a worse position, and I wonder why that is. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone in this video. I'm not blaming anybody in this video. Like I said, I want McCann to stay and turn it around, but it's going to get to a point where if the results don't get better and we're in the relegation zone, it could get to a point where the board might need to make a really ruthless decision here. Whether I agree with it or not is, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But I would feel gutted for Grant if he ended up getting sacked or he walks away. I would feel gutted for him because I want him to be the man that turns it around. And, I said this on a video that I decided not to upload in the end. I said this on there. I said, if Grant turned around at some point this season and said, if we go down to the National League, but I want to stay and keep us up and I want to keep us fighting and get us back to where we need to be as soon as possible, then I would feel a lot more confident about next season. either way. But that's not happened yet, and I'm waiting for something to happen. I just part of me in my gut feels like I'm waiting for the axe's chop. Part of me feels like I'm just waiting for some massive nuclear explosion to happen at the club in terms of an announcement, in terms of a statement, in terms of something happening behind the scenes, in terms of something that's going to go down. Um, I mean, the next home game against Tranmere is next Saturday, and that's after the window closes. And if we don't sign anybody, and look, this isn't me 100% agreeing with them and stuff like that. This is not me siding with them or anything like that. But what I will say, and I'm being brutally honest here, if we do not bring in at least one more player, depending on the injury situation, by the end of this window in the matter of 24 hours, I think the next time they're going to bring the banners back out. They're going to bring the sell the club no ambition banners back out. They're going to bring out the clown banners again. They're going to bring out all the different board out stuff again. They started doing that at the Stockport game as well, with the chanting and stuff like that. So, you can feel the toxicity just driving up and up and up and up. And it's going to get to a point where the banners are going to start coming out again. And that's nothing against the grant or the players. That's towards the ownership of the football club. The banners are directly towards them. I don't know why Gavin Baldwin's face is still on there because he's done nothing wrong. David Blunt, I can agree with. Terry Bramall, he does care. Terry Bramall does care. But unfortunately, he's going to be, I guess, guilty by association. If people are directing their banners towards the ownership of the football club, Terry will be guilty by association, but David Blunt would be the focus of the banners. But he's not chairman anymore, so now Terry has to take the flak for it, and now Terry's the face of any problems that happens, etc. So, for Terry's sake, I genuinely fear that the banners are going to start coming out again after deadline day. If we don't sign anybody, if we don't make an improvement in this squad with the injuries we now have in the midfield, we're going to probably, as a fan base, bring out the banners again. And I generally think I could generally picture myself walking into the stadium next Saturday against Tranmere, and I'm going to be sat in the West Stand, which I am a West Stand season ticket holder now rather than a South Stand. So if you're wondering where I was last week, I was in the West. I generally picture myself, and this hurts to say this, and I fear for saying this. I generally picture myself looking across to that South Stand and seeing the board out banners in the next home game. I generally do believe we'll see that, and I don't think the fans are afraid to bring the banners back out. I generally don't, because there are fans out there that genuinely will try and force change, that will try and protest for change. They did it last season; they'll do it this season. No matter who's the manager of the club, they're going to do it, and they're going to direct the protest towards the ownership again. So, I mean, I don't know if we're going to get a repeat of last season where we have a free pass photo of everyone standing outside the reception of the Legacy Bar and, with the banners outside on a long stretch of land near the family stand. I don't know if we're going to get that next season. I mean, anyone that did the banners last year, message me privately and comment down below if you are planning to do that. See what happens, see how that goes down. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird situation right now. We've got the quality of players to get results. It's just a case of can we do that? And if we're not doing that, what needs to change before it gets any worse? But for now, guys, thank you very, very much for watching this video. Comment down below your thoughts. Like I said, I'm not blaming anybody in this video. I'm not directing my responsibility at anyone in this video. My whole point of this video is generally looking at the comment, looking at scenarios, and seeing what the potential options are. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. For now, I'm the CHALL Terra for now.